Yo, champs at the making, and welcome back to Legendary Adventures. My name is Eli, aka the Big Sauce Gamer Tag. Unfortunately, Small Fry can't make it right now. She's in the middle of editing another video for you guys. But with that said, guys, let's not waste any more time, as the days are fast approaching in which Regice will be returning to raids. Now, as you guys are aware, or may not be aware, the Regice will be available for this weekend only, thanks to the Colossal event that's going to be coming out. So if you're participating in the ticket event, fantastic. You're going to need to be knowing how to go ahead and have the Regi counters, as I'm got a good feeling that this is going to be part of the ticketed event items to do. But if you're not partaking in the ticketed event and you just want to go ahead and maybe get yourself a Regi because you just recently started playing and didn't get an opportunity to pick it up in the breakthrough rewards format that it came out, or in the previous raids, or you just want to acquire that shiny, make sure you know what to have in order to go ahead and do the most damage, and of course not to go ahead and white out as much. With that said, let's go ahead and cover the movesets, the combat power, and of course the counters. Now for Regice, if you happen to have a maxed out Pokemon, or at least around the heat level of 35, mostly roughly around level 2,800 combat power up to around 3,500, then you're going to be able to go ahead and bring him down with about 4 trainers, as long as everyone has the right counters. But not everyone has the Stardust to go ahead and invest into the team, or if perhaps you have a different type of team set up for previous other Pokemon that you worked on. So we're gonna go ahead and maybe see what you can go ahead and pick from the other ones and build a dynamic team to bring them down. Now, if you don't happen to have 4 players with everything maxed out, then you're going to want to go ahead and use a team of 6 players with a heat level map of around 25. That way you guys all have a good chance of doing the optimal damage on Regice, and of course getting a chance to bring it home. Now, do note that Regice is one of the tankier Pokemon out of the 3 Regis that are going to be available. Now, with that said, it's got the highest defense, and of course a perfect Regice is going to be 1784. Now that's non-weather boosted, which should be the case for most players. But if by any chance you happen to be playing in snowy weather conditions, which is what's going to go ahead and give Regice the boost, then you're going to be looking at 2230. So again, if you're playing in snowy conditions, 2230 is going to be the max CP to go ahead and catch it. Now, well, the movesets for Regice may seem not that scary till everything hits the fan. The fast moves for Regice to know, it's going to be Rock Smash and Frost Breath. So, they do relatively so damage, neutral damage for Frost Breath if you're using fire types. But of course, you could be using fighting types for this as well. And then of course your steel types. Now, Rock Smash goes ahead and is a great neutralizer, as it does cover a good amount of damage on the fire types. With that said, let's also know about what those charge moves. And the charge moves are Blizzard, Focus Blast, which hopefully you're not using Tyranitar's for this. Now, Earthquake is the most devastating move that Regice could actually have, and it's what's going to go ahead and do the most damage across the board to everything, whether it's your fire, your fighting, or again, your steel type, but especially your fire. It's going to do mad damage. So, danger. Here's the combination of what to avoid if you're using fire types. If you notice that it has that Rock Smash and Earthquake, go ahead and swap out your fire Pokemon and swap it out for your fighting team or for a steel team. Going from there, if you're not playing in snowy conditions and you're going to be lucky to be playing in sunny conditions, that's where we're going to go ahead and want to lead with a fire team to go ahead and do the most optimal damage. Let's go ahead and cover the Pokemon that you should have in your lineup. You have them, go ahead and set it up this way. And of course, keep in mind that weather condition for your area as well, for those fire types. For starting off with a steel type, we're going to want to go ahead and utilize Metagross. Metagross being able to have Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash as the optimal moves for it. Now, if you don't have a full team of 6, because you weren't able to play during the community day it's been like a year and then some. But if you're able to go ahead, acquire some, or at least one, then that's definitely one that you want to utilize. Then of course, for those who have been lucky enough to go ahead and get a Unova Stone and being able to capture a Litwick and of course get all the candies, a Chandelure with Fire Spin and Overheat is going to be a great one to have. It's going to be a strong flex. But what I understand, not everyone can have it, so that's just one that gets honorable mention right now. If you were able to evolve a Torchic over to the Blaziken, and then give it the moves of Fire Spin and Blast Burn, then you're set. You know, that is going to be a great Pokemon to go ahead and utilize, as long as you don't encounter, you know, that rock dual combination on Regice. Now, going on to another one that had its community day, its community events, and of course that was available in the research task, is Moltres, the legendary bird. I mean, if you're gonna use one legendary to take out a legendary, why not Moltres? So, you know, you're gonna need Fire Spin and Overheat. Now, I know that on that particular one, it's a little bit tougher to go ahead and maybe have it raised up to the high level, because, you know, the candies, if we leave that one aside, then we can definitely move over to the fighting type, and with giving you a better chance of having something that you can have in your range would be Machamp. Machamp always seems to be the ideal Pokemon to have for most raids, so hopefully by now you've been able to build yourself up maybe 2 or 3 to have on your team. And for this particular case, you're going to want to go ahead and of course have Counter and Dynamic Punch to do the optimal damage. Now, going back to the legendaries, perhaps on this one you were able to go ahead and acquire through the research task when they were available through that, what was it, like almost 6 month span, or perhaps in the raid events, whether when it was the first time it came out or for the reward system. But we're talking about Entei with Fire Fang and Overheat. Now, for Entei, it's going to be a great one to have to utilize, but again, you got to make sure that you're aware of those rock attacks, because otherwise he'll just be knocked out real quick. Now, jumping away from that legendary to another legendary, let's go over Dialga. Now, Dialga was a great one to acquire last year, and hopefully you were able to go ahead and get enough candies, or perhaps you're walking it or have walked it to go ahead and have it. But with this particular steel type Pokemon, you're going to want to go ahead and use Metal Claw and Iron Head to do the max damage and really give a hurting to Regice. You're going to want to go ahead and use Rampardos. Rampardos, definitely you're going to need the following moves of Smackdown and Rock Slide to go ahead and bring it down. Moving on to the next one, this is a Pokemon that hopefully everyone has been able to acquire lots of candies during the current Halloween event, as he's been available pretty much everywhere. And then of course he has been spawning here and there as well, but that happens to be Charmander, aka the full evolved Charizard, who you're going to want to bring into battle. Don't bring Charmander, bring Charizard. But you're going to want to go ahead and have Charizard with Fire Spin and Overheat to go ahead and do the optimal damage on Regice. So that's a great one to go ahead and have. Again, please be careful when you do encounter that Regice with the rock attacks and the earthquake. I mean, I cannot stress it enough, guys. Just be careful, because otherwise you're going to be going through a lot of resources. So just want to make sure you're okay on that. And then of course, moving on to one of the new Pokemon that came out recently that has been around. Hopefully you've been catching a lot of Jobers and have evolved a few to Exodrills, because Exodrills with Metal Claw and Iron Head is going to be a great one to have. It's going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to be able to take a lot of the hits as well, and be able to endure. So it's a great one to go ahead and have in this mix as well. Going back to the fighting types, you know, if I gave Machamp his mention, then I got to give Hariyama his mention as well. Hariyama with Counter and Dynamic Punch, another great one to have. And we understand that, you know, either you have one or the other, because that's usually how it works out in regards to finding the candies and being able to evolve it. So hopefully you have a good one to utilize for it. Now, if you happen to have a Heracross, Heracross is going to be a great one to have, because you're going to want to go ahead and utilize Counter, of course. I don't even know why I'm thinking about it, but it's going to be Counter and Dynamic Punch. So with that said, that gives you your fighting types right there. You have your fire types and you have your steel types. Now, there are a few other ones that, you know, I didn't mention but would be great to go ahead and utilize. But of course, you know, this is all a candy situation. So if you have an Arcanine one, Arcanine got another great fire one, and of course Flareon, you know, to give them their honorable mentions. And of course, if you're maybe using Jirachi, Jirachi would be a great one to use as well. But again, that's a lot of candies that perhaps you have or did not have. But let me know down in the comments below. Maybe, you know, there's a Pokemon that I didn't list that maybe you think, you know, would be a great one to utilize, like perhaps Breloom. But, you know, go ahead and let me know what your team is built up. Let me know how your Regice battles went. And of course, if you were able to get a shiny. Of course, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, smash the notification bell. I'll go ahead and catch you in the next one. Peace.